Perfect. So welcome everyone. For the ones of you who don't know me, my name is Tom. I'm the director of LEAP Studies in Spain, and we are close partners of Ivan International. And we do everything that happens for the students in Spain. So today we're going to be speaking about study opportunities here in Spain. And for that sake, I have prepared a little presentation for you, and I would like to share it now. So give me just 1 minute. Can you all see my screen? Can you see the slides that I'm sharing with you?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. Excellent. Yeah, actually, we've been working with Ivan already for a few years. And I remember it like yesterday. We've been in Qatar at an educational fair together with Dr. Atif from Ivan International. And after that, we've also been to Egypt to present at a few high schools. And since then, a lot of things have happened on our side. So back then we were only supporting with Barcelona, but now we're actually doing every single city in Spain, offering a total of more than 12,000 programs in top-ranked private and public institutions. And that's also what we're going to cover today. So we're going to speak about the university landscape, how to access public and private universities, when to apply, what's the price, what's involved. We're going to be speaking about LEAP and how we can help you, as well as Ivan International on the local ground. And throughout the session, we will have time for Q&A, hopefully in the end. If you have any questions, you can just fire them in the chat, and we will address them as we go along. So I think today in the audience, there's a lot of aspiring students. We understand that you are in a very exciting time of your life because you are about to finish high school or you're about to finish your bachelor, and you're now looking into international study opportunities that will potentially shape the rest of your life and your international network. So maybe in the audience today, we have a few doctors or engineers or lawyers. And it's our job here at LEAP to make your dream come true and study in Spain. What many people don't know is Spain has a lot to offer. So that's not only Spanish university programs, but you can study completely in English, 100%, for a very affordable price. So for example, a lot of people don't know that in Spanish top public universities, you can study for less than 1,000 euros in tuition fees per year. And still you can have a high quality and reputable education. So that's what we're going to be looking into. Here a little bit on the university landscape in Spain. So we have a total of more than 90 universities in Spain. Approximately half of them, so 55, are public universities. And more than 10 among those are ranked in the top 500 in the world. Right, so that's quite impressive. To name a few of them, we have Universidad de Barcelona, Pompeu Fabra, or Complutense University of Madrid. And many courses and many careers are available in Spanish, but there's also a lot that are available in English, right? And those courses change every year a bit depending on the demand. But this is why we are here in Spain, helping you and keeping you up to date. So as I mentioned before, we offer more than 12,000 courses here. 7,000 of them approximately are bachelors. So you can imagine for every taste or every kind of academic background or budget, we have a solution. Now, at the same side, we also have private universities where the education is often in smaller classrooms and it's more directed towards mentorship. And there's a lot of top names as well, like the European University of Madrid, Marbella Design Academy, the Catholic University of Murcia, and so on. And those, the top degrees that you can study there are usually business, psychology, architecture, and dentistry. And those are all available 100% in English. Is there any questions so far? Okay, I guess that's a no. Now, what are the entry requirements for bachelors? now specifically. If you take a look at the public universities, in order to get in, it's a bit of a pickle. So it's not very straightforward because you need to learn Spanish, but not to study in Spanish afterwards, but only to pass the university entry exam. The entry exam is an exam, I will explain it later in more detail, but pretty much they calculate a university entry grade for you and your high school performance from the last 3 years. So from year 10, 11, and 12 will account for 60% of your entry grade. And the remaining 40% of the entry grade you get by passing the university entry exam. Now you can imagine if there's a course where there's a lot of demand for example, medicine, you need a very high grade in order to come in. So both in your high school and in the entry exam. If it's a course where there's lower demand, like say marine biology or geography, then you can even have a lower grade and enter with this grade. Now the price for public universities starts at 800 euros per year in Spain and goes up to 5,000 students for the highly coveted programs. For example, if you plan to study business in Barcelona, where there's a lot of demand, the price is closer to 5,000. But if you study, for example, in the south of Spain or in the north of Spain, it could be 800 per year. Now, let's take a look at the private universities. Also here, the access is a little bit easier. So you need a high school diploma. You need to have graduated from high school. You usually need a proof of English language, which can be a TOEFL or an IELTS or sometimes Duolingo. You will need to prepare a motivational letter to explain what is your statement of purpose, like why do you want to access this program, and a curriculum vitae. So like kind of listing the chapters of your life, like what have you done so far with your life. Sometimes there's an admissions interview, but the criteria can vary in general. So like sometimes they have internal exams, sometimes they have specific Spanish exams, or they have own language tests, for example. And the price for private universities starts at around 6,000. And I put here 15,000 because there's not many programs that are higher than 15,000, but there are programs, as you can imagine, the sky's the limit here. Are there any questions on those requirements? Can everybody...
English exam maybe ممكن IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo, any exam?
Sorry, what's the question? Yeah, you can take IELTS or TOEFL or sometimes Duolingo.
Duolingo only, or can to introduce IELTS or TOEFL?
IELTS or TOEFL is always possible. Duolingo is sometimes accepted. They started accepting it during Corona because students were struggling to go to a TOEFL test center because it was closed because of the pandemic. So now they're also accepting sometimes Duolingo. Yeah.
Can you give me a minimum score?
So like for bachelors, it's usually B2.
Duolingo, okay. Minimum score, Duolingo.
It should be an equivalent of B2. Okay. Now, it's hard for me to give you now a specific score because, as I mentioned before, we work with more than 90 universities. So each of them has different requirements. Right? Some will accept Duolingo, others won't.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in order to access, so like I just explained, you need to pass the university entry exam and you need to learn Spanish in order to go into a public university. Now, the way to do this, how we work is we work with a university foundation program. Now, what is that? If you have finished your high school, so you have studied for like 12 or 13 years, the university foundation program is a preparatory year. It takes between 8 to 12 months. And in this time, the class content will be split in 2 halves. So the first half is going to be an intensive language program for Spanish to get you up to B1 or B2. And the second part of the program will be preparing you for the actual entry exam. Now, the entry exam has many names. It can be called selectividad, it can be called EBAU, UNED, or university entry test simply, but it all refers to the same thing, right? In order to pass it, you need a B2 level of Spanish. It takes 8 to 12 months. It's divided into Spanish language and selectividad. And then depending on where you study. So for example, if you study in Catalonia, which is like the region of Barcelona, you need to take 6 subjects. If you take, or if you want to study in Madrid or in the south of Spain, for example, you only need 4 subjects. There's also some state departments where you only need 2 subjects. So it really depends which course you want to study and where you want to study it. Now, the reason why we usually offer it in Barcelona or Madrid, so there's also other cities you can take this foundation program. The reason we're offering it in Barcelona is because it's 6 subjects. So if you pass it in Barcelona, you can study anywhere in Spain. If you take, for example, this program in Granada and you only do 2 subjects instead of 6, you cannot study in Barcelona because you need 6. Now, what are these subjects? I don't want to go into too much detail because it's a bit complicated, but let's take here a small example. For example, if you want to study medicine, the maximum score you can get out of your high school and together with the university entry exam is 14, right? The lowest is 0, the highest is 14. In order to study medicine, you need a minimum score of 12.5. Now, this is the formula which calculates your entry score. And that's what I meant. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but let's say your high school grade, so you studied at an American high school, you got a GPA of 3.8, and this will get you 60% of the entry grade. So the 3.8 points could be translated to 9.5 out of 10 points, for example, and then the remaining 40% you would get from the selectividad. Now, the type of subjects you're going to take, there's the general phase, which is usually the same for every type of career you want to study. So that could be like Spanish language and literature, history, English as a foreign language. And then you choose an additional 4 subjects, which will already be related to your study program. So if you want to study engineering, for example, you would take mathematics. If you want to study something in relation to design or art, you could take foundations of art. And then in this specific case, for example, for medicine, you would then take an additional 2 subjects, which is biology and chemistry. Now, out of those 6 exams, you will get a score, and this will be calculated on top of your high school score. So 60% high school, 40% selectividad, and then you get a score between 0 and 14. Now, if you reach those 12.5, for example, you can study medicine. If you reach 10.5, you can study business or design or law or international relations, for example. Now I know this is a little bit hard to understand. Do you have any questions here?
If any student has question, he can write on the chat. Okay?
Guys, I know, like, don't be scared. It all looks a bit complicated. It is a bit complicated. Like, to get into a public university is not very easy in terms of processes and bureaucracy, but that's why we are here. Like, we are taking care of you. We will guide you step by step. So out of the, like, last year, we brought 70 students into public university. A lot of them were also from Egypt and Qatar. And we enrolled 100% of them. So there's none of the students who didn't get into the subject that he wanted to get. And this is why we work with trusted foundation partners. They prepare you well for the language. They prepare you well for the exam. And in the second part of the foundation program, you will have some trial exams. So they will put you under the same conditions with the same questions, and they will do that 3 or 4 times. So that by the time when you're having the actual selectividad exam, you're just gonna nail it. Okay, what does the time planning look like? So let's start with the public universities. Let's say you want to start in September in your public university. So right now you might be finishing your high school. You get your diploma in like June or July. Now, what can you do? For example, you could enroll in the foundation program already tomorrow. And then we will start the visa process in April. You will still do your high school and finish your exams. And then you could start the foundation program either in July 2022 or in October 2022. right? So the main difference is that one of them is more intensive. If you start in October, you can still study in 2023 in the university, but it's going to be a little more, there's going to be a little more pressure. But if you follow the regular approach, the foundation program will start in July. You will have the entry exam the year after in May, so after approximately 10 months. And then we will start the university enrollment in June 2023. You get the acceptance in August and you study in September 2023. Is this clear, more or less?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions, if you don't follow me, let me know. Like, I'm explaining this quite a lot, so for me it's pretty clear, but I can understand how for someone who hears that for the first time, it's difficult to understand. For private universities, all of this is a little bit more straightforward. So the whole admission could take between 2 and 4 weeks. If you want to start in September this year, we can already start the enrollment right now because the private universities are already open. If you wanted to study like business, psychology, architecture, anything that's available in English in private universities, we can start enrolling you tomorrow. You will get the acceptance 2 to 4 weeks later. So we will support you with like the interview, the motivation letter, the CV, and so on. And then we will start the visa process 3 months before your study date. And then you can start in September 2022.
Okay. So can we go back, please? So
yeah.
the starting point for the private universities starts in September.
So like private universities have multiple intakes. I'm just assuming that like from the perspective from a high school student who's now in 12th grade, who will graduate in June, then the logical step would be to start in September. However, there's multiple intakes. So like some private universities also have intakes in, for example, October, February, April, June. So we can also start during the year. Just September is the main intake.
Yeah, but I'm a bit confused. If he will be graduated this year, so currently he's in grade 12, which means that after he took the certificate in July, he will apply 2 months later in September?
No, it's the university starts in September, the class starts. The enrollment, we can start tomorrow.
Okay.
So like we can already get the acceptance at the final offer letter, we can already get before he graduates.
So generally speaking, Jan-Feb time is the best time to start the enrollment if you decided to go to the private universities.
Yeah,
it will open. I mean the application will be open and the process is there to start currently if I'm applying for the next year.
Like the enrollment for private university is pretty much open every month of the year, except September, October, because this is when the main intake is starting and they're very busy and starting in the first weeks. But we do recommend to apply as early as possible because there's a lot of courses, like if they are in high demand, then they will fill up quickly. For instance, some of the dentistry courses, they are already, or medicine courses, they are already sold out for 2022. Like there's no more enrollments possible because there's such a high demand that in November or December last year, they already closed the admissions. So we recommend applying earlier than later.
Okay, clear.
Is your question answered? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, clear. Thanks.
Perfect. Now, how can we help you? So our main expertise lies in educational counseling. So we know the universities, we know what we know the students, and we know what the admission officers are looking for. So we are experts in helping you to create a perfect motivation letter, to create your CV, to prepare you for the tests and so on. And also we can help you to find the right university for you. As you can imagine, with 12,000 courses available in Spain, there's quite some differences, right? So if you come to us and you say you want to study business, there's like more than 500 courses that we can choose from. So in order to find the perfect fit for you, you can sit down with our counselors and we can help you to find the right path for you. And the beautiful thing is, since we work with public universities, we not only focused on the highest, the high tuition fees. So like the private universities in the States that charge 50,000, you can also study for as little as €1,000. And you can be certain that we give you unbiased counseling. So we're going to find the solution that's best for the student. Now, after we get you admission with our partner in Qatar and Egypt, E1, we also support you with the visa and all the legalization that's going hand in hand with the visa. And there's also some legal support involved. For example, there's a process called homologación, which is the grade equivalency of your foreign high school degree in Spain. So they need to translate the grades and need to see which score it will set up to. So this is something we can help with. And then also with the landing arrangements. So we are based in Barcelona, but we have a partner network all over Spain in all the cities, in more than 26 cities. And we can support you with accommodation, health insurance. Once you arrive here, you have 90 days to register for the town hall and for the residence permit. And this is something we help our students with. Now, our fees are typically, that's for our office fees, between 1,000 and 2,000 euros. It depends how much work we will have in terms of the number of applications we go for. So like we usually go only for 1 or 2, and still we have 100% admission rate so far. But yeah, there are students who want to apply and have like a plan B or C. And those are the students who are closer to 2,000 euros than to 1,000. This fee includes all of the services that we just discussed. Now we're already at the end of the presentation. Maybe just here a quick summary of what we just spoke about. So there's more than 90 universities in Spain. 55 of them are public, more than 40 are private. There's 12,000 courses in Spain, out of which 7,000 are bachelors approximately. If you want to study in a public university, we can get you access with a foundation program. So calculate an additional 8 months after you graduate from high school. The benefit is you will learn Spanish, even if you study in English afterwards. But knowing Spanish is not a disadvantage in your life. No, it's quite the opposite. So Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world, and it looks very good on every curriculum vitae. 60% of the entry grade for the public university is your high school GPA, and 40% is the university entry exam. In terms of the universities that we have partnerships with, we have very good relationships with them because we visit all of our partner schools, and we have a coffee with the heads of admissions. So for us, this is mostly just a phone call, and we can help students in the best way possible. And like this, it also increase your admission chances. What do we do with LEAP? Also together with our partner in Qatar and Egypt. So we support you end to end, meaning from the day you start deciding that you want to study abroad in Spain, we can guide you through the whole admission procedure, find the perfect course for you. Then we take care of the visa, and we take care of you until you arrive in Spain and you're registered with your residence permit. And that's pretty much what we do. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope I didn't talk too much and everything was clear. Are there any questions you would like me to address?
Do you take care of the living?
You mean the accommodation?
Accommodation, yes. And
Yes.
what's the average cost for the accommodation per month?
That depends on the city. So Barcelona and Madrid are the most expensive cities in Spain, and it depends on the type of accommodation. So like most of our students who come, they live together with other students in a shared flat. And in Barcelona and Madrid, the price for that could be 400 or 500 euros per month. If you're looking at other regions, like very popular, for example, is Valencia or Granada or Malaga, you can live there for like accommodation wise for like 200 or 300 euros a month. So I would say overall, together with like transportation and yeah, public transport and also food and clothes and so on, I think you can make it for less than 1,000 euros a month. If you were in Granada, maybe even for 500 or 600.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For applying universities in Spain, do I need an SAT score or just my GPA?
Just the GPA. SAT is not necessary. Like there's some American, like schools with American backgrounds who would also look, like they give you special points if you have an SAT, but it's not necessary.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
However, if there's someone, I don't know if there's someone in the call who's coming from the British curriculum, but if there is, if you want to study in a public university, you need 3 A levels. That's maybe
How many subjects for the A levels?
3. And they don't really look at which A levels you took. So if you want to study medicine, you can also take subjects that are not biology or chemistry. So they only look at the overall score.
Okay, you mean A level or AS level?
No, I mean A level. AS level is insufficient.
Okay.
Okay, great. Guys, if there's no other question, I encourage you, like if there's someone who wants to apply, please approach Ahmed in the Qatar office. Or if you have any question, like write us directly. Here's our email and our WhatsApp. And also we have an Instagram and Facebook page. Great. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope to see you in Spain soon.
Okay. Excuse me, can you just another question? If you're obtaining the letter of acceptance, it's easy to get a Spain visa?
From which country are you talking?
Egypt?
Like, yeah, Egypt is okay. We did Egypt quite often already. Like last year, for example, we had more than 25 students from Egypt.
What about Saudi?
Sorry?
What about Saudi Arabia? KSA.
Urania?
KSA. Saudi Arabia.
Oh, KSA, sorry. Yeah, I would say it's quite straightforward. Average visa duration 2 to 3 months, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, which country has a problem for the visa?
I mean, there's some troubled countries that it's really hard to get a visa, like Nigeria, for example, or Ghana. But it's mainly because of their sanitary regulations at the moment. So for example, those kind of countries are, because they don't have the same hygienic measurements in terms of corona, those countries are temporarily blocked from entering Spain. But also these regulations, like they change every month.
After the foundation and learning the language, it's easy to pass to exam for next year, first year?
Yeah, like the foundation program is designed in a way for students who don't speak the language at all. Like
or medical is hard. Medical is so hard. Is the same of another country.
Yeah, like for medicine, you need minimum 90%, like better 95, because there's so much demand. But like we did have a lot of students who took the medical foundation year last year, and they're studying now and they are becoming doctors. Okay, are there any other questions?
What the best majors to study in Spain?
Sorry, the best what?
Best majors.
The best measures to study in Spain? What do you mean?
The programs. Which program?
Yeah.
Which best programs in Spain? Like medicine, like engineering?
So like extremely popular in Spain are business programs, because some of the private universities that we have are ranked among the top, even globally. Like we have some business schools that are top 10 in the world. So that's something that a lot of people come for, especially in Madrid and Barcelona. Then it's very popular to study dentistry for some reason, like a lot of enrollments for dentistry, because you can study it in English for 15,000 euros per year. And after that, you are a licensed dentist. So That's something very popular. It's a lot cheaper than, for example, in the UK or in the US. Very popular also psychology, international relations. Last year, we also had a lot of engineers. Engineering, you can only study in public universities. So we had like chemical engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and they usually go through the foundation program. And then they study at some polytechnical university, for example, in Valencia or Catalonia or Madrid.
Some program in public universities in Spain can start without foundation. I don't know, you speak about this or no, and maybe I pass.
It's very difficult. Like there is a small chance if there's no demand for the program. So in this case, you can only do legalization and then you go in. But it's really if they cannot fill up the classroom. So if you want to study anything that is, you know, somewhat in demand, like if you want to study something at a nice university with a nice program, then you have to take it. Yeah. So there was a question here from Malak.
Yeah, the business is the best program to get a job opportunity in Spain. Yani the best
I would say
program?
it's the most general one, because every company has a business department, right? So every company can only survive if they do business. Now, if you study business, you can work in any company. Like even a hospital needs someone who studied business. However, the other way around, if you become a doctor, then there's also going to be space for you, obviously. But if you are a doctor, you cannot work in business. You see what I mean?
I think we have 2 minutes, so
okay.
Can answer.
So
The
Malak,
last question only job opportunities for medical student in Spain.
like a lot of students stay after they study medicine. Definitely. Now here's a question from Malak: how to study medicine and dentistry in Spain, and what are the tuition fees? Tuition fees at a public university are approximately 2,000 to 3,000, and in a private university between 15,000 and 20,000. But yeah, the entry requirements are very high for dentistry and medicine. So if you would like, I think this is better if we have like an individual conversation about this, because it really depends on your study performance. Yasin wants to know, I have to know Spanish to study engineering. Yes. Yes, quick and short, yes. But there's also engineering programs that are in English, but only in public universities. So you need to study Spanish just to pass the exam. Malak, is it in English? Yes and no. So dentistry is 100% in English. Medicine is always going to be bilingual, English and Spanish, because your practical terms that you take in the clinic, like your internships, for example, that's going to be in Spanish because you have Spanish patients. So like over time, in the 6 years of learning how to become a doctor, you will gradually increase your level of Spanish.
Thank you, Tom, from Spain. You can contact us, the one international or future get. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.